think a big thing, and I think one of the biggest issues here.
Why am I doing that?
What are you doing? Are you breaking shit?
No, I'm playing with a disgusting old sticker that was on my floor. I don't know why.
You keep doing that. Good job.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am, as always... Oh, this is the BREWDCAST. I am, as always, Bud Robinson. This is Town. That's Leon. Say hi, Leon.
Hi, Leon.
And Leon's crazy from being gone for so long. And I'm leaving for a moment, so see you soon.
Let's do it, Leon. Let's talk
about
about...
the midriff. All right.
Let's rock some shit. Let's talk about some shit.
Let's make this joint.
We spent the entire last podcast. I don't know if you actually listened to it. You probably didn't. We annihilated.
I saw the titles and everything, and I was like,
we tore CM Punk to fucking shreds. Who shreds? Completely to shreds. What is your take?
my take is I am sad.
That's one of the things.
Disappointed.
One of the things I said to Bud last week was I said, I'm disappointed and I'm sad because I feel like he left so much on the fucking table.
Yep.
But he was he could not work there anymore. He needed to go. There was no saving that situation. Because if it was the Young Bucks, and then it was Hangman, and then it was Jack Perry, and then it was he got to do a fight with Willie Regal. Did you hear that one?
Yeah, something about him not wanting to shake his hand and
called him a stooge for Hunter.
Vince stooge or some shit.
Yeah, called him a stooge for Hunter. Apparently
Regal didn't even think shit of it, but people have been like it just started making waves since the latest blow up. So
I don't think Regal was.
It happened like when Regal debuted. Yeah,
and I don't think Regal gave a fuck because I don't think Regal gives a fuck. He's like, whatever, you're fine. Yeah, whatever, fuck you.
Regal's fucking amazing. I love that dude.
One thing that I kept pointing out last week was I think wrestling became such a toxic environment for him, and he left it, and when he came back, it just went toxic again right away. I don't think he should be in wrestling. I don't think he can handle it. I think it's bad. I think it's like literally physically bad for him and like mentally. It's so fucking toxic.
Had some friends, acquaintances, and such discussing, and a couple of these friends are mental health professionals, and naturally, they don't like to do diagnosis without actually speaking to the person and everything, but like a number of different possibilities were thrown around. Including CTE. Yeah. Including CTE. The spectrum was brought up as a possibility. NPD was a possibility.
Well,
BPD was a possibility.
Because of his family and all the shit that happened to him when he was younger, I think he has some kind of attachment disorder. I think that's pretty
got severe trust issues.
Yeah, and that's part of his
with his parents, and then the way his brother fucked him with their Fed and all that shit. Yeah,
I think he's got
real deep-seated issues with that.
I think he's got some real deep attachment issues going on and some trust, like you said. And I just it got really old listening to the shit he was doing, and then it was just like, like we said, like I'm sad about it because wrestling is more interesting and more fun and more engaging, more entertaining with fucking Phil Brooks in it. It is. I know. Yeah, he's an asshole. It was. His run on Collision wasn't doing a whole lot for me, and I think he came back in such a bad spot that it was just like
spinning his wheels with the whole thing.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
I don't think they had anything really fucking planned for when he came back, and they were just kind of like, okay, let's try this.
I think they were just letting him do his own thing, trying to let him like be happy. Like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? I think they catered to him too much. They catered to him too much.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, some creative freedom is good for these kind of guys, like a guy like him. But it's like the thing that I believe we've talked about in the past with like guys like fucking Russo. Like, interesting motherfucker, ideas for days, but he needed like McMahon to be able to filter him and be able to get, not just let him run amok, because we saw what that turned into. Well, everybody saw what that turned into in WCW. But when he had somebody who could, filter out the bullshit, he could do some interesting things.
I think one of the biggest issues that they had was that Tony Khan was such a fan.
Yeah,
and I think he let him. I think he
didn't really.
No, he's a boss to other people, and he does things to other people, and he tells people they can't do shit. But for Punk, it was like this guy got to walk on air and do whatever the fuck he wanted, and Punk knew it. And it's just.
Then it's like the whole thing with Perry. Like, if he's not a producer or a coach or any of that stuff, there, why is it falling on him to tell the dude, "Hey"? Did you
see? Did you see the press release, though, Leon?
The press release.
They fired him from it. They fired him as a wrestler, and for other positions. So I think he was a producer. I think he was doing more than just.
The closest I'd heard from anything about that was him talking about having an open door and being there in case any of the younger guys ever wanted to talk or to pick his brain or any of that kind of thing. But I'd never actually heard him having any kind of
he had some kind of power. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. I mean, I think it's crazy when he can tell the head of talent relations that he can't come to the show. I think that's when you.
I don't think it was exactly that, because I think it was him making the argument, because he was there with because Daniels was there with the pull apart and everything.
Well, he wasn't allowed to come to the show because Punk didn't want him there.
Yes, but the logic of it made sense, because if Ace can't, because he was part of it, and Daniels is basically the same kind of job, why can he be there when he was part of it? I understood the logic in that.
Because Daniels didn't bite somebody's arm. That's pretty fucking easy. Leon.
Too, but then you're splitting hairs. But yeah.
Am I splitting hairs? Like, I never ever. This was Bud. Bud was the one that blamed Punk for everything. I never blame Punk for everything. What did I say the whole time? I said, hey, this is a result of the Bucks and Omega, mostly the Bucks and Punk, both getting pissed off, not talking to each other, and Tony Khan not stepping in. There was a whole group of people that were involved in that. I never once blamed Punk. However, I can sit here and say, for a guy that's going to bite somebody in a fight like that, that guy probably shouldn't have a job.
Hey, you know who I just saw has a job there that I'm very happy about?
Who?
Fucking Chris Hero.
I knew that.
Apparently, I just read earlier today that he's producing there and everything, and apparently he's becoming BFFs with Shivani, which I absolutely fucking love.
Yeah, they need
those
that.
Those are two dudes who love wrestling. Tony fell out of love with it for a long time.
WCW would do that to a guy.
Yeah, between the end of WCW and then getting involved with Conrad and everything, dude was out and he was okay with it. But he ended up getting brought back in and he loves it again, and that's fucking awesome. I love that for him. It makes me happy.
They have a lot of shit going on.
He seems like a genuinely good dude.
I feel like
business where there's not many of them.
I would agree with that. I feel like there's been so much shit that has gone on for the past year, and it finally feels like we're going to be done with it. There's going to still be stupid shit that happens, but I don't think it'll be so front and center. Because Punk is just loud. If he's pissed, you know it. He's not going to be quiet and pissed. He's going to be really... And he was in WWE. Then the other thing, last week, we didn't know he was fired. But last week I said, straight up, the first thing I said was they should fire him. Because this is just getting... He's not worth the effort anymore. Do you think he goes back to the E?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't either.
know if they. I don't think they'd have him unless
My initial thought.
Happened. I mean, Brett going back happened.
Yeah.
Fucking anybody can go back. So
the only thing he left in such a bad way, and he said so much shit about so many people.
Oh yeah.
And I think Triple H is super protective of that locker room and keeping everybody happy. And I think part of that stems from the fact that he had to, like, when Vince was at the end there really losing his fucking mind and doing crazy shit, like Triple H had to pull that locker room back numerous times. Would you want to insert that guy into your locker room who simply just cannot function in a locker room anymore?
I think if you do, there needs to be all sorts of clauses in his contract and everything. Like, shit needs to be laid out crystal goddamn clear.
Well, he went after
expected of him, what he can do, what he can't do, where he's supposed to be, when he's supposed to. Like, they need to lay out every fuck thing.
So the story now is
there's no room for fucking wiggle or anything.
So he lunged at Tony Khan after he choked Jack Perry and punched him in the face.
And apparently, the other thing I saw about that is lunge is a very tame word for what happened.
What's starting to leak is the fact that Tony went into his locker room to try to talk to him, and like Punk legitimately went after him. Like he was so fucking mad he went after him. So Tony got the fuck out, and then Joe was in there, and Joe was the only reason he did the match was because Joe was like, "The fuck are you doing?" You know, that type of thing. And Joe's known him for a long time, so I'm very happy right now because Joe's gonna get a prominent spot because Punk's gone. But it was time. I mean, it really was fucking time. There's nothing. And what a weird run.
Seriously, it was fucking hurt.
Weird fucking run.
Suspended for more than half of it.
He came back and it was so good. And then he had that feud with Hangman, and Hangman said that one thing and he got pissed. That's the other thing. Somebody
one thing at the one time I got to see them.
So, you know, he gets pissed at Jack Perry for saying that, but he goes out there and he, for no reason, completely unprovoked, takes a shot at Hangman after the show.
Yeah.
Which he can do, but then Perry can't say that one thing. And we don't even know if that was at Punk or if that was at Shivani. I almost feel like Shivani and those people kind of shot him down, and then Punk had a talk with him where it was like, "Hey kid, you can't do that. That's not safe." Da 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 da. And then it sounds like it's Punk's been leaking shit to somebody else. I don't know who. He's got a guy he's been talking to that's not Dave Meltzer, obviously.
Yeah, there's some not podcaster, but another like dirt sheet guy or podcaster, maybe I think it is.
Either or.
I can't remember.
I think it might be both. But he's been leaking shit to that guy, and he leaked that Perry wanted to get time off. And so Perry got pissed because he's like, "That's not what I was doing. I already had time off. I just wanted to use real glass because it'll look better." So that pissed. The issue, though, Leon, is that CM Punk, at the age of Jack Perry, was doing the same shit, trying to do the same fucking shit. Was pushing those boundaries and arguing with people that wouldn't do it. He's become what he hated. He truly has. He's lived long enough to become the villain. That's just the way it works. I think his shit's a little out of touch. I don't think he fully understands the business anymore. I don't think he understands AEW's business. I don't think he understands those young guys. I think a lot of those old guys struggle with that. I think a lot of fans our age struggle with that too, because sometimes you look at it and you go, "The fuck are you doing?" Back in 1994, this is what they did with King Mabel. You should do that. You know, it's just like, well, yeah, but seriously, you know, I really
didn't go so well.
No, it went really bad. But that's not the point. That's neither here nor there. But I also I listen to these people talk about what a clown show AEW is, and they have all these small guys and da 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 da. And it's like, yeah, but there's something different. They're not giant guys. They're not shooting up roids. It's a different style. It's a different product. And if it's not for you, don't watch. That's where I'm at. Like, there's other shit. There's other shit to watch. AEW has some great guys. And if you're more into the WWE style, that's great. They're doing stuff that's okay, kind of. I mean, it's not the best, but it's just like it's there. I mean, Gunther's great.
From what I've read, he's open to the idea now, but a lot of people in that locker room.
Shit, really?
And yeah.
Well, he was open, but he was open to the idea in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
In December-ish, he was open to the idea of getting out of his contract and going in the Rumble, and then getting eliminated and fighting whoever eliminated him at the Rumble. That was what he wanted to do. He didn't want to come back to AEW.
I did not.
Then AEW talked him back.
No shit, I missed that.
I'm gonna be the most honest one here, and I'm gonna say this: it's done. He's done. He's done because if he goes back to WWE, it's going to be 2 to 3 months of him being really nice, and then one thing's going to piss him off, and it's going to be done. Okay, if he goes to TNA, if he goes to Impact, that'll last 2 weeks. There's no way they can handle it. NWA wants him.
Yeah, I saw that.
Do you know how long that would last? 14 to 15 minutes.
I don't.
It's just
the show.
All he's got to do is show up in one of those T-shirts that he showed up famously in about abortion, or what was the latest one that he wore? I can't remember. Like, Billy Corgan is not a fan of the left. I'm just saying. And
well, look at his last 2 world champions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
And I don't see Punk going there. I think it's done. I think he's done.
Did you actually see they have an NB champion now?
Oh,
Max the Impaler.
That's it. Yeah, I did not know that they were champion. But I did know that they were
recently,
there.
Yeah. They just got that title, I guess.
That's cool.
I think it's James Mitchell managing them.
Oh, that kind of works.
Part of the issue that they had, though, was when they made Tyrus the world champion. A lot of people tuned the fuck out. Back to Punk, though, he's done. I just think he's done. I don't think he can last anywhere.
I think
he's done.
He could spend more time on heels.
I think he's done for the time being. I'll agree with you there. I just like
that window, though. The guy's 45.
That doesn't mean that he can't. I'm not saying that he, like, if you're saying he's done wrestling, yeah, you're probably right about that. Or at least wrestling the schedule that he has been wrestling. I could see him as a producer. I could see him backstage doing office shit.
What the fuck? Oh, you can? Are you kidding me?
Not tomorrow.
Where?
I think that he needs therapy.
Where the fuck is he gonna go?
I agree with him 100. I agree with Leon 100%. I think that he needs therapy. Or,
Bud, you crazy fucking lady!
No.
What are you talking about?
You're gonna sit there and tell me that CM Punk has nothing left to offer this business?
That's not what I'm saying. He does. But if that motherfucker was a producer and you pissed him off and he decided to punch you in the fucking throat because you weren't listening,
but that's him.
That's a problem.
That's him in the past year. If something's going down with him, that's him. That's just like that's a classic response to any kind of trauma.
I don't see him being a producer. I don't see anyone wanting to hire him in that role.
Again, he can't do it today. Again,
you're not wrong.
He's a good storyteller.
Have to offer him that. I just don't think it would work. He has a ton to offer in that realm, but yeah.
His personality, his demons, his ego, his behavior is at a point where, like, he cannot function in this business. And you hear him go, like, WWE, it fell apart. It absolutely fell apart. He was miserable, hated everybody hated him. AEW, he created so much chaos in a year, it's not even funny. Like, he did more damage to that company than good. As great as that fucking opening segment was with him where he came out and had all that shit, and it was that cool moment, and a moment they'll never match because it was that just incredible. After that, it was all downhill. And I just don't think this business is any good for him. I think he just needs to not be in wrestling. He can go make movies. He's never had a problem doing that. He can go call MMA fights. He's really good at that. He has no problem with that. Do that shit. Go do stuff you like. You don't like wrestling anymore. He doesn't. He doesn't like it.
That is a very good point. That is a very good point.
He should be done, and he shouldn't suffer through. My other worry with that is if he goes back to WWE to prove a fucking point and he's vindictive, that's not going to end well.
No.
Because he's going to come in mad. He's going to come in angry, and he's going to be feisty. And when he's feisty, people get bit in the arm by Ace Steel.
It repels from the ceiling. Ah!
Leon did try to compare Ace Steel and who's the other guy, the head of talent relations. He said that they both the justification of not having them both on TV or having them both at Collision was fine. If Steel can come, then Christopher Daniels shouldn't come. I said okay, but Christopher Daniels didn't bite anybody. He just tried to separate a fight. So that was my one argument.
I get CM Punk's argument. I just largely disagree with it. It doesn't matter anymore because that's not a thing.
He just really ruined this company for a little while.
Yeah.
So,
another suggestion I saw while perusing the interwebs today was that the WWE brings Punk in on a 6-month type prove it deal, NFL teams will do or that kind of thing. 1 year, short term, bring him in Survivor Series, the Mania.
Would do it.
See if he can be a good boy.
Wouldn't. I don't think he can.
I don't think. Yeah,
Well,
like that. That's the big thing.
Idea, low numbers. Lots of clauses in it.
It's 100% realistic. I think Punk as a person would not do it, and I think you're right. I think Punk is not into wrestling.
I don't think he'll go unless he's getting what he thinks he's worth.
Mm-hmm. My hope, sincerely, is that he made enough in AEW that he doesn't think that he has to come back into wrestling. Let me rephrase that with different emphasis. That he has to come back to wrestling. Because I've said 100 times, I am okay with CM Punk coming back into wrestling if he wants to be there. I don't think he wanted to be here for the past year. And they have that old school mentality in WWE. They're not going to put up with that. I mean,
cantankerous Punk would make for good TV.
That is a good point. I mean, yeah.
He didn't. I disagree with you completely. Because he was cantankerous the entire Collision run, and Collision fucking sucked.
Yes, but WWE would book him differently. Far differently. In a way that he would thrive.
That's probably...
I think. Well, I mean, Vince isn't really there. I think Vince knows how to take those those people... those kinds of people, people who are cantankerous, people who other people don't get along with, and make money off of them. He knows how to do that. Trips might know how to do that. He doesn't do it. At least as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't see it. He was so fucking bitter and mad that it affected everything he did, and every time you saw him on TV, you knew he was fucking pissed at the Elite. You knew he was fucking mad about this, mad about that. He always was mad, and it just shone through as he was wrestling and doing his stuff. And that's no fun.
Yeah.
Because basically you're watching Collision what is this shithead going to do today? Is he going to say something? Is he going to do something? Is he going to shoot on somebody?
Yeah.
So it's just the other big thing I see is everybody, all the Punk marks are well, Jack Perry should get fired. Completely disagree. Didn't do anything.
I mean,
he said one thing one time. CM Punk said something about Hangman multiple times, did a bunch of shit, went off fucking course, beat a couple people up. Jack Perry said one thing, Punk got in his face. Perry stood up to him, and then Punk beat the shit out of him. Punched him in the face and choked him. So it's what should Jack Perry get? Jack Perry should get what Hangman got, or what Punk got for what he said about Hangman. Give him a fine.
Yeah.
Fine him. I'm all for that. Don't do that shit.
Shouldn't
have done it.
He's suspended indefinitely at this point. So just let that ride out. That's fine.
I would bring him back and I would fine his ass. I mean, he should get a fine for that. That's only fair. That's not what you're supposed to do. The reality of that situation is if nothing would have happened, no one would have gave a shit. Because he said that on TV and nobody gave a shit. Except for one fucking guy.
Well, the people like us who know the backstage shit, we sort of went, ha ha ha, that's funny. And then, or I'm sure people got pissed about it. And then the people who don't know the backstage shit were just like, what are you talking about? What's wrong with you?
It's the problem when you play to that sometimes. People are like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? I think the main point of the Punk situation is it's really, really fucking disappointing because we never got what we should have got. I think we all agree on that. I think we all kind of look at that the same way. He should have done more. He had all the fucking potential in the world to make this run amazing, and it flopped. This was an utter flop for AEW.
Save for like a couple of things, yeah.
But in the background, they've managed to do some other great things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about that fucking main event from All Out of Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy.
Oh my god!
Because that is the match of the fucking year.
Oh god, that was such an amazing
match.
That was such an amazing match.
Incredible. The story was incredible. The in-ring work was incredible. Everything was fucking incredible. Then I watched tonight in that opening fucking promo Orange Cassidy did was fucking perfect. They told me not to come here tonight, but I'm here. I'm going to be here every week. I'm Orange Cassidy, and I do not have a catchphrase.
I love that.
Fucking
catchphrase.
love it. Fucking love it.
Catchphrase.
They are clearly building to Cassidy Mox.
Yeah.
Having another match and Cassidy winning that match.
Make it a death match. I love it.
That is the moment for Orange Cassidy where he gets to that next level.
I read a thing about him actually just earlier today that he doesn't like getting on a mic. He doesn't like, and that's not like a character thing. He doesn't like getting on the mic because he wants his in-ring work to tell the story, not for like Mox gets on the mic and he tells you how you're supposed to feel about this match, and he's like, I don't want to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just I don't want to do it that way. And I think he does it. Like
works so well with his character.
That one match that came to mind as soon as I read that, I think it was with Buddy Matthews, was where he was working his finger or his hand. I don't remember exactly. And then
he couldn't throw the orange
punch.
Yeah.
And then that continued to play throughout his run with the international title. Like, good lord. They did
such a good job. That's possibly the best thing they've done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not just me being an Orange Cassidy mark. Like, that whole title reign was fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to more. And I think keeping Orange Cassidy on TV was great. And I think you can kind of have him sulk a little bit and start doing some stuff. But I think that big money matches him and Mox. I think that's it. I think that could be amazing. He got his main event, and it was like, cool, he got his main event. But then you watch the main event, and you're like, this motherfucker's a main eventer.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't his one main event. This motherfucker's a main eventer.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. Love what they're doing. My other favorite thing from the pay-per-view was the fans chanting "Meat Forever." And that's a match you got to watch.
Oh my gosh!
There's two
of them. There's two, maybe even three big man matches that were really good. You're talking about Hobbs and Miro, right?
Hobbs and Miro.
There was Samoa Joe and Shane Taylor, which was 5 minutes, but it was still a good match.
That was a really good match too. That whole show was incredible. I couldn't believe how good that fucking show was.
I have yet to finish
Leon didn't watch it.
I mean, I haven't finished it. I started watching it on double time like 2 hours ago, so I missed Dynamite.
I fucking loved that match where the crowds they start hitting each other. Meat forever. Just that chant was amazing. That was a fucking amazing match.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great big man match. That whole show, they made a shirt for that too.
For what?
A meat shirt.
Of course they did.
Why the fuck wouldn't?
Why
you?
wouldn't they? You're right.
That crowd was fire. That pay-per-view did over 100,000 buys,
mm-hmm.
which is stunning. Because I had one the week before.
A week ago. Yeah.
I thought that crowd would turn on this show for CM Punk. I don't even think I heard one CM Punk chant.
Yeah.
I think that fan base is just ready to say, okay, What a fucking ride it's done. Let's just move on.
They did boo Shivani, and I got the impression that was because of the Punk thing.
Yeah.
I guess that was Collision though, wasn't it? That was
Collision had a lot of CM Punk chants.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Collision sucked.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was all right.
It was okay.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was. They've got a real identity issue with that show right now, and they better figure it out quick.
Yeah.
Did you see the ratings? For that?
I mean, I didn't. Meltzer showed them to me personally.
Like
he came to my house.
Was it
was not
300,000?
He was like, they were going up against another pay-per-view and college football, but that was still shit. And I was like, yeah, I don't know.
The show wasn't real good, and I think there was scrambling there.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Danielson's going to be the focal point of that show now, which will be good because Danielson is everything Punk is not.
I have this thing that I keep thinking about, and it's been reinstated here. Every time that CM Punk leaves a place, like Danielson swoops in.
Yeah.
And he like makes himself. Like WWE, ROH. I feel like you're chortling right now. I'm not sure. I guess ECW.
It was a nice chortle, Leon.
ECW is not a great.
I'm not chortling. I'm agreeing.
Okay. It sounded like chortling. I'm sorry. I just really like saying that word.
If Punk wouldn't have left WWE in 2011, I don't think 2014, whatever the fuck it was, so long ago I don't even care. I don't think Brian would have got WrestleMania 30 because he would have fought Sheamus. Because that's all they wanted him to do. Make Sheamus look good, pal.
Well, Punk did really well with ECW, and he moved on. And then they converted it into NXT, and I think Danielson made it like, I mean, it was a completely different show. It was a completely different situation, but like, it was a completely, like...
was really bad.
He did it, yes, but his bit in it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like...
I think they missed the boat on him by not calling him Buddy Peacock. Throwing that out there.
Okay.
Did you know that's what the...
I've heard that before. Were they courting NBC at that point? Because I mean that's what it sounds like.
No, they looked at him and they said he looks like Buddy Peacock. Look at Leon's face. It's about what it is. And then William Regal's like, "Why don't you call yourself Daniel Bryan and not Buddy Peacock?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to do that because Buddy Peacock sucks."
You know what? It confuses me every goddamn time, but I don't care. Buddy Peacock is way worse.
Chili McFreeze against Buddy Peacock in the main event of WrestleMania.
I mean, I probably would pop for that.
Oh my god!
Who was Chili McFreeze? Remind me.
Stone Cold.
Was it Stone Cold?
He wanted a cold, like I want a cold character, like a serial murder. Chili McFreeze and Fang McFrost. Fang McFrost is good. Coming down the aisle, Fang McFrost. You could have had the glass and the fingers and all that shit. And Fang 316 says, "I just whipped your ass." No one would have gave a fuck.
Who the fuck is that?
That's a bad name. Bad name. I feel like we're in a really interesting time in AEW right now because I think we got rid of something that was creating a huge problem that was affecting the quality of the shows and was affecting the quality of the performers. I don't think it was a real great place to work. I'm hoping on Collision they start to run with Ricky Starks and Hobbs and Miro and let Danielson bring those guys up.
And Bullet Club. God, Bullet Club needs to be a center.
Bullet Club's amazing. Bullet Club's fucking amazing. They have some amazing shit going on. They just need to pull it together a little bit.
I also read somewhere that they're not doing the brand split anymore.
I wouldn't.
I think like
should have in the first place. Who was dead set against that?
I mean, I was dead set against it too. Just saying.
Stupid for one guy, but I think
for the other two guys.
I think the moment that this got lost was right after Brawl Out. About 3-4 weeks after Brawl Out, Tony Khan should have said, "Okay, Punk, you're flying to Jacksonville. Bucks Omega, you're flying to Jacksonville. Ace Steel, you're flying to Jacksonville. We're going to sit in a fucking room. We're going to figure this out." that needed to happen. And I get that they didn't want to, but if you're going to work together and you're going to work in a company like this and you're EVPs, that needed to happen.
Yes. Yeah.
That didn't happen.
I mean,
I blame that on Tony.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm the Bucks and I saw what that fucking guy did, he's nuts. I don't want to deal with him. I totally get it. But Tony Khan's job as the guy running that company is to say, okay, you're right. He's a complete fucking psycho lunatic, but he's one of our biggest stars, and we got to sit down and we got to figure this out. And I mean, I think if they could have...
For any other wrestler, I would agree. However, they are EVPs, and they're going to have to work with him in some capacity. I agree. They're not faultless in this, but it's also at the end of the day, that's Tony Khan, and that was a lack of leadership. And it's weird because that lack of leadership.
That was the whole reason for the soft brand split, anyways. Was they refused to be anywhere near him.
Yeah, but I don't blame them. I don't, because if I had a guy that I was working with that was that fucking crazy, I'd be like, you know what? I don't want to work with this fucker either. Get the fuck away from me. Until somebody in position of power sat down and said, hey, this doesn't fucking work. You got to sit down and do this. I get that
they are in positions of power.
They're EVPs. They are not the owner of the fucking company. That is Tony Khan's job. You can try to put that on them. That is Tony Khan's fucking job. It just is. In a situation like that.
Yeah.
That is Tony Khan's fucking job. You can try to throw the Bucks under the bus for this, but you can't, because it's not their fucking fault. I mean, you don't like the Bucks. I get it. That's fine. That's
Leon
cool.
Can do that. He has a special power. He can do that.
Does not like the Bucks. That's okay. Doesn't like MJF either.
I mean, that goes back to like my criticism from the start of the company of having fucking performers being executives in the company and being basically untouchable and above it all, and only wanting to work with their BFFs all the time.
I don't see that much, though.
But it's there, and it reared its ugly head during this whole thing.
What reared its ugly head was a guy that has a serious issue that's going on that went absolutely fucking nuts. And that's fine.
Absolutely, but it wasn't him alone, man.
No, I said that from the start. I said that from the start, that there was multiple people at hand here. But what I'm saying right now is Tony Khan was the guy that needed to get these guys together. You can be an EVP, but when you're fucking suspended because you were a part of something like that, you kind of lost your power for a little bit. And the job of the guy in charge is to say, okay, you're EVPs, this guy is this, we got to come and we got to sit together. And I'm sure when he went to the Bucks and Omega, they're like, fuck that, we don't want to work with that asshole. Because I would have done the same thing. I would have done the same fucking thing.
That's fine. They don't have to work with him.
No,
but the thing of it is, they refuse to be in the same building, in the same room with the guy.
Yeah, like, as would I.
Be some goddamn adults. Go in, hash shit out. I don't like you. You don't like me. We can still fucking work in the same business. We're fucking adults. Okay. We are professionals. We can do this.
Here's my comeback.
No, that's all.
Now we're getting salty. Here's my comeback to that. If we're fucking adults, then don't throw a fucking chair at my face, punch me in the face, and have somebody bite my friend's arm. Simple as that.
Don't charge into my dressing room with fucking HR in tow.
Doesn't matter. Don't throw a punch.
I mean,
they didn't throw any punches. They had an argument. They were going to have an argument. You're fucking right. They were going to have an argument. He didn't need to throw a punch. If you wanted to yell at him and fight, great. Yell, bitch, moan, scream. Call them cocksuckers. Call them motherfuckers. Call them whatever you want to call them. Don't hit him. Because that's where it crosses the fucking line. That makes you wrong. If they would have went into that locker room and they would have argued with him verbally, and Punk would have said, get the fuck out, I don't want to talk to you, and they would have kept going, and they would have got suspended for a yelling fight, totally different story. Can't get physical. That can't happen. That was where it went wrong for him. You can't get physical.
And I think I agree with you, Town, and I think that like, but there's like that blurring of that line, and we've talked about it before, where like when you're talking about wrestling as a business, we have spent so long with this like court in the back, and like guys just hash shit out and they like figure it out, and Vince makes them work together and whatever, blah 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 blah. And this is a different beast. Like AEW is trying to actually be a I don't know how else to say it. Like it's a business. Like they're trying to run it as though these people are actually their employees.
They're trying to cut out the old circus
Yes.
bullshit 1980s mentality.
Yeah.
Like the dude's, he's a fan. He loves the business. He's got a decent enough mind for it.
I think he's got a great mind for it. I think he lacks.
He's terrified of conflict. Like anytime anything like this comes up, it just because he like gets them apart and they don't work anything out, and then it ends up exploding the next time the people get around each other.
I don't think that's the case with everybody. I think that's the case with CM Punk because I think Tony Khan he's a CM Punk mark. He's a guy that he's such a fan of CM Punk that he cannot, like, he doesn't want to tell him anything. Oh my God, it's CM Punk. He knows what he's doing. And I think that really is another reason this didn't work because he never sat down with Punk and was like, we're not fucking doing that. We're doing this. This is what I want to do. And Punk just kind of was like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Tom's like, oh my God, yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll do whatever you want. We'll do whatever you want. Because landing Punk was that's the biggest acquisition they ever had. Like, hands down, they never had a bigger guy than that. They never signed anybody bigger. Danielson was huge. Adam Cole was huge. But they weren't on the level of Punk. Because Punk was gone, never coming back, and he came back.
7 years, yeah.
But I also think they gave Punk a ridiculous amount of chances. And okay, well, we'll bend to this, we'll bend to that. You can do this, you can do that, and he still fucked it up. So at the end of the day, as I look at the situation, the person that should take the blame for him getting fired, himself, because he's the one that did the actions. He's the one that attacked Jack Perry. He's the one that went after Tony Khan. He's the one that was completely just lost his fucking mind. That's his fault. You can blame the Bucks. You can say the Bucks poked the bear. That's fine. People poke the bear all the time. You poke the bear, you don't get punched. I poke your bear, Leon.
We haven't even talked about the whole travel shit with their BFF.
If
dropping the ball with his travel.
Okay.
No, it doesn't happen to anybody else, but it happened to him. That
if you fucking believe that. If you fucking believe that.
There are pictures of him on the tube, sir.
He rode the train. But if you think that was the Young Bucks trying to troll fucking CM Punk, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. No fucking way.
Nobody else.
But go ahead.
It is my understanding that nobody got that. Nobody got transportation from. Like, everybody had to sort that out for themselves. And for whatever reason, CM Punk did not know that.
He flew in late. He got to the hotel.
They had none of that was shooting something.
Okay.
So there was a bus from the hotel to the arena. But it ran for so long, they told everybody that. So he's there, and he wants a driver, and they don't have a driver for him. They gave him a number. The number didn't work. And he couldn't get an Uber, so he rode the train to there. So there was no fuckery with that. And then, I mean, realistically, I just think the Bucks just don't want to fucking deal with it. They don't want to fuck with this guy. They just don't want him around.
Yeah.
It's like, don't talk to us. So that's just bullshit. That's bullshit. That one I don't believe. One thing. It's fucking disappointing. This is all disappointing.
Yes, I think.
Yep.
I think the common thread here, no matter what the chain of events is that it's disappointing. Like, seeing CM Punk come into this company with so much promise and so much like I can't speak for everybody, but I had like this whole thing like in my head, like, this is how it's going to happen, and it's going to be edgy, and it's going to be cool because it's going to be hidden. You're not going to be able to see it coming. And I still sort of, just a little tiny bit, I'm thinking, oh, this is a work. They're going to it's going to turn out this is a work. That's not going to happen. But I'm like, I saw all of this stuff, and then it just kind of, I'm like, well, fuck. Now what do I do? But we have, I think...
It sucks. It sucks, and we're all passionate about it.
The upside to all of this, though, is that, like, if something like this had happened in, let's say, NWA. Like, you get CM Punk in NWA. What are they going to do? They're going to build their whole fucking company around CM Punk, much like they've done with Tyrus. And then CM Punk gets fired, or he does something shitty. They have to keep him on the roster because he's the one making them the money. Tony Khan has been smart enough to be like, yes, CM Punk is making us a lot of money, but we also have to keep building these other guys like MJF and Jack Perry and Sammy Guevara.
After Brawl Out last year, when the Elite and Punk left, the show got really good.
Yeah, it did.
Because the focal point moved. Mm-hmm. And when the Elite came back, I don't feel like they're taking the show over like they used to.
No.
I feel like they're using them way more sparingly and other guys are getting a shot, which I like.
But they're still having engaging storylines. So like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are still like, they're still there. You can still root for them. They're not buried, but at the same time, they're not taking over the show. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. That was way good. I had something else I wanted to talk about. I don't remember what it was because I'm yelling at Leon. Oh, I know. MJF is the greatest wrestler in the world.
Uh-oh. I will stand by what I said a week ago. That bit that all-in match was the best booked thing that they've had in ages. No, that they've ever had is what I said, and I stand by that. The Mox Orange Cassidy thing, maybe close, because like Orange, like they've been the build for Orange Cassidy has been steady, and I don't know. I still like it's just
the way they pulled All In together and the way they did that match was fucking fabulous.
I think
the story they told, the amount of merchandise they're selling, the amount of mainstream attention they're getting for that wins. It has to.
I think that's the bit right there. Is that they're getting mainstream attention from MJF and Adam Cole's shtick, and that's great. That's awesome.
MJF is on fire,
mm-hmm.
and everything he does is gold, and they've turned him face. But he's still an asshole,
kicking and screaming, and he's still a piece of shit, and he's still our scumbag. He's our scumbag. Like how? Just like, I love it.
Yeah, Leon, waiting. I'm just waiting. I'm sitting this one out. Leon and Bud, go ahead.
What? What are we doing?
I'm going to tell the honest to God truth. When I watched All In, I was talking to Leon the whole time. And we had a great conversation. We did, right, Leon? We had a great conversation. Right? Like, we were having fun, we were talking, we were bullshitting. We get to the main event, and that motherfucker turned the corner and was so fucking angry. So fucking angry. And I'm like not getting it. I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you so fucking pissed off, Liam? What the hell? MJF this, MJF that. Da 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 da. And you sat here and you said that MJF was just going to turn on Adam Cole like he always does because he never does anything different. But then he didn't turn on him, and then you were pissed he didn't turn on him. You know that, right? I reread the thing because you wanted him to do the same thing he always does.
Mm-hmm.
But then you would just bitch about him doing the same thing he always does.
Yeah,
but here's the and I told you this, Town. Here's my thing is like when you have the blood. If you can compare it to if you compare it to the bloodline,
which we did.
Yes, I heard.
I read actual quotes from our
Roman
conversation.
Reigns, they're trying to push Roman Reigns as something he is not. They just are. Like, they just keep pushing him, and nobody wants him to be face. Nobody even wants him to be heel. Nobody just wants him to be on the show anymore. But he is. And they keep pushing him, and they keep pushing him.
If I may go into that thing with the thing that he isn't, because just one of the things that drove me away from it, is how, like, even the announcers, like, they act like he's the most dominant, like nobody can touch him, yada yada yada, even though it's fucking his cousins interfering all the time. Like, usually in a case like that, when you have a heel champ like that, and they're cheating all the time, they're getting interference out all the time, the announcers, or at least a face announcer or whatever, will call it out.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking announcers on WWE slob on Roman's knob like he is just one-shotting everybody. They
I
act
love
like
that.
he's just murdering everyone. Sir.
I agree with you 100%.
Thank you, sir.
100%.
Like,
But-
that's...
But I have a butt. I have a butt. I have a butt. I have a
A
butt.
while ago,
I mean, everybody has a butt, but I have a
Everybody
butt.
has a butt.
Hold on, just let me throw me. Let me throw in my butt, Leon. Let me throw in my butt, and then I have a feeling you and Butt are about to argue because I'm done. MJF is not Roman Reigns. He's not being booked the same way, or he's not being treated the same way by the announcers. I just want to throw out there. Continue.
This is
Oh, that's fine. They call him piece of shit all the time. It's great. I love that part.
And I think that's the thing that is the thing that I find most engaging about his face turn, is that he has done it kicking and screaming. He has done it, and the announcers, to piggyback off of what you were saying about Roman Reigns, the announcers are doing the same thing. They're like, this guy's a piece of shit. Why is everybody cheering him? And like they're slowly moving forward towards like, oh, maybe he's actually turned a corner here. Maybe he's actually trying to be a better person. But he's not there. He's not flipping a switch. He's not becoming a face, if that makes any sense. Like, he's still MJF. The difference is that he is
the same shtick, but everybody's treating it like it's all face shit now. Like him kicking fucking Joe in the dick and everything.
Yeah, but
it's getting a pop rather than a boo.
Yes. And I think maybe that's... I don't really know why that is. I think that's like maybe like the thing that I love.
Go back and look at like late 80s, early 90s Hogan face stuff. Like, he did heel shit a lot, raking the eyes and all that kind of fun shit, but people just ate it up, like, because he was a superhero champ and they all loved him.
Ric Flair, but Eddie Guerrero, like, we have these guys who do a lot of cheating.
Yeah, that's the thing with Flair, though. For whatever decades with him, when he'd do that shit, he'd get booed. But then when he got to the E after WCW shut down and everything, and you know, he's on the old timers contract and he's the dirtiest player in the game and yada yada, that's when it started being the whole face shtick for when he'd do all his tongue in cheek, wink wink, dastardly heel stuff. That's when people started eating it up and he started getting face pops for it. But for 20, 30 years, 20, 25 years, when doing that stuff, they would boo his ass out the building.
Yes, very true.
It's not like with Max now, where they did used to boo it, but now all of a sudden it's, he's our guy, he's our scumbag. That's when I put. When did we get sound effects?
We're having a good conversation.
I've been waiting to do that for so long.
You did say you were going to do that. It's on Discord. Discord does that now. You son of a gun.
Can I cut in for a quick second?
You said you were done.
I'm not, because I'm going to agree with him because you're right. Ric Flair did take that long to get it. But you're also talking about a more mainstream fan base, whereas this is a little more of the smarky crowd. And I think that's the difference. And his charisma... I turned my mic off. His charisma, which I know you don't like, which is fine, but his charisma is so unique and so on point, and the guy can talk and he can connect and he can get that audience in the palm of the hand. They're just going to eat it up. And they've turned him face. The crowd's turned him face.
He is a shithead. He makes fat jokes. Yeah. He makes little people jokes, and like I'm not saying that any of that shit is good, but the fact that we have Adam Cole and MJF in a situation where in any other company they would have turned at All In or sooner. They've convinced us that these people are going to stay together. Just blows my mind because I didn't even think of that. Like, it's just, and they've put it together in such a way that I'm like, I'm still waiting for that other foot to drop, and maybe it will. But as long as it stays this way, I think it's just like I'm just enjoying the ride.
See, that's where I differ. I felt that the ride had reached its natural conclusion at All In, and one of them should have turned and did what they do, what comes naturally to them. But they decided that they wanted to run it longer. Sir.
Okay, I had this conversation with Bud last week. We are preconditioned by WWE to think about angles a certain way, and any time the angle doesn't follow the path we think it should take, there's a natural response. Because this has happened to me before in AEW too. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You shouldn't do that. You should have done this because that's what you're supposed to do. So they're doing something different. They're taking us outside the box. So they're looking at these real basic, simple angles, and they're saying, "Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to do something different."
It's also like
that's an important caveat too.
It's like a situation where
I get that. It feels to me like it was a very basic arc, and it had completed itself. It's just that they decided to put it in a holding pattern, so they can sell some more T-shirts.
Have you listened to the crowd though?
That's my thing. That's my thing. The crowd is totally into it.
I know, dude. They love them. They love them.
It's the best thing on the show every week, and it's not close. It's the best thing in that company right now, and it's not close. It's the best thing in wrestling now, and it's not close. And I think Bud would agree with me. It's the best thing going on.
Here's my thing. Here's like a continuation, I guess, of my thing. I'm looking at what they're doing, which they've kind of paused for the time being, but I'm looking at what they're doing with him, with Adam Cole and MJF, and then you have the Kingdom and Roderick Strong. What happens if they like convince those guys to like join a group? What if this becomes a situation where they have this group of people who started off hating each other and they all become best friends? Like, I don't think that's ever happened in wrestling. You all know the history shit, so maybe I'm wrong, but like, wrestling is always about, I hate you, you hate me, and if we have an alliance, it's loose and it's gonna break. We're gonna explode. This is going to end.
Conflict and/or competition.
And it doesn't even matter who it is. Like, you could look at the New Day, and people are probably still thinking they're going to break up someday. That's just going to happen. They're going to break up someday. And maybe they probably will, because it's the WWE. But, like, I just have this... I'm looking at this...
Big E's been told he should never wrestle again.
What?
Just recently.
Yeah,
Big E has been told he should never wrestle again.
Oh.
Just recently.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, I was sad. They said like the last time that they all re-upped, that they had told them like the last time that they re-upped that they never wanted to break up. They would never feud and all that shit. And then with this one, I think this was supposed to be the last contract with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But then E got hurt and everything, so I don't know if that went out the window. I haven't heard much from them since. I honestly haven't paid much attention to anything from the E and a while. Like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, like I tried skimming a couple of episodes in Raw and SmackDown after Mania and fell off real quick. I had fell off since like Survivor Series before that. Tried catching up before Mania, and I was like, okay, sweet, this is finally gonna be done, and then rug pull.
Boo.
Yeah.
I think it's different. I think that's a good point. I think it's something different. I think it's something that we haven't seen. I think that's
true.
what people are buying into it.
I
think it's really... Go ahead, bud.
I have faith because he's done it, not just because I love Tony Khan unconditionally. I have faith that Tony Khan will end it when it needs to be ended. I was really, and I think I've said it on this podcast, I was really, when they started introducing like the mental health shit and the rejection sensitive dysphoria, like MJF was like pouring his heart out about that. I'm like, and then they're going to pull the rug out and I'm going to be so pissed because like, it's like you're saying this RSD that he has, he's right to have it. And that's just bullshit. And I'm so happy that they didn't do that. And I think my hope is that they end it organically and that they don't just say, we're going to swerve the fans, fuck them all, MJF is going to kick Adam Cole in the dick. Which, I mean, he might.
I think one of the big things right now is that from a marketing standpoint, especially now with Punk on, you've got to lean into MJF a little more, and you've got to find a way to humanize him. You've got to find a way for him to have some vulnerability, and he doesn't have any when he's dick face MJF. He just doesn't. He doesn't care about anything. He's just an egotistical dick who does whatever he has to do to win. I think by giving him those little pieces, by giving him a friend, by having him do these things, by pulling him outside of that comfort zone, you're giving him some of that vulnerability he doesn't have. Because his initial title reign, our concern, when we all said it, and we all fucking agreed. I was a huge fan of MJF getting the belt. I thought it was the right move. But Leon was the one that said everything he does is the same. And you're right, his feud with Jericho, his feud with Punk, like all these feuds are the same. And now we're getting a completely different MJF. And he's on TV every single week. And he's growing. Like, as a performer, he's growing. He's getting better. His in-ring work is getting better. His promos are getting better, even though they were already the best. Like, this is growth for him. This is that potential. This is what we're seeing. We're seeing a guy make that jump from really, really good to, like, fucking megastar. I'm done.
I'm going to disagree with one tiny bit that you said. I think his program with CM Punk was probably the most unique one that he had for a long time. Like, up until that point, agree. I think that was his most unique part.
I would agree.
And I think the vulnerability that you're talking about, they started pulling that out then. Like, when he was he was talking about, he had this photo of him and CM Punk, and like they started like introducing that stuff. And I think it's interesting to see that they're doing sort of the same thing with him and Adam Cole.
It worked.
But making it so that they get closer together, as opposed to with him and CM Punk. It was like, this was him like drawing CM Punk in by using his reality to trick him. You know, it's a different angle on the same sort of like idea.
That's the thing, like in most
Excuse me.
I guess most other forms of media, like, you know, movies, television, that kind of thing. Like, I want that kind of ending. I want people to get along, all that kind of stuff. But pro wrestling, I want my goddamn conflict.
Yeah.
I
get that.
I want the two. I want that fucking turn already. Because both of them are natural fucking backstabbers, and that. Yeah.
I think that's the thing
it just feels like they're putting off the inevitable, like I said, to sell more T-shirts and shit. And
yeah, which is fair. Like,
it's working.
And I think
I'm not a huge fan of it, but
I think like
I still think they should have moved it into something else by this point.
I think the cool part about, and again, I think I said this last week or the week before, I don't remember. Is that they're still like they still have that backstabber mentality. Like, Adam Cole hasn't suddenly become a saint because he's trying to make MJF a better person. Like, they still like in their match they did cheap moves to each other.
It's a deeper level of storytelling than I think what we're used to, especially out of a main event feud, like going into a huge show. To not have that, we hate each other, this is a big moment, more of, we're friends, we're going to go steal the show. But I'm going to do whatever I have to do to win, and you're going to do whatever you have to do to win. It was just a different way of telling that story, which I think was pretty fantastic. Them on TV is...
It's DX on crack.
It's so good. It's so fucking good.
They're just like...
It's dumb, but it's not dumb. And
DX on Ritalin.
They got the kangaroo kick over. Like, I just sit there and I'm just like, what the fuck?
How many times have you said, Town, that those two are just in in a competition unto themselves to try and get random shit over, like the kangaroo kick and the double clothesline, which will never ever, no matter how many times they break up, cease to amaze me. That they're holding hands and that's their finisher. I'm gonna
throw something out there, because I remember watching one of the segment where they did the kangaroo kick, and I was watching that, and my initial thought in my head was, I know two guys who would have done that. Bud Robinson and the Town Drunk.
I mean, yeah.
That is exactly what it is. It's the fucking Brewd. That's the shit we did. That is the shit we did in the basement.
Going to Outback Steakhouse.
We had all those stupid segments in the basement, and what were we trying to do? Because it was us three more than anybody else. It was us three. What the hell were we trying to do? We were trying to fucking pop. We were trying to pop each other and crack each other. That's all we fucking ever tried to do.
Mm-hmm.
We gave an overall outline of what we were doing, and then we just fucking went. Everybody tried to make everybody laugh. That's what they're trying to do. And I think when people do that, I think you can kind of feel it. Because if you remember, like WWA, what was the most fun doing segments? It was the Brewd. It was always the fun. It was just hilarity nonstop. And you'd cut a promo as, like you'd cut a promo as Shockwave Bud, and then it would be like, yeah, that was good. But trying to rap as Bud Robinson while I'm wearing a hat was way better. And for Leon, it's like, yeah, that Orgasmo thing I did was awesome. But singing all by myself with Floppy,
it's more fun. It really
was more fun. It was more fun, and I think that's part of what it is. And I think the fans feel that. I think you feel that as you watch that. Like, these guys are having a really good fucking time right now.
Yeah.
And that's always fun to be a part of. That was DX, Michaels and Triple H. That was all that was. That was them just being complete. The original. The other one was stupid. But that original DX was just them being literally, we're going to be complete jack-offs. We're going to be stupid, and we're going to do whatever the fuck we want. And we're going to break every rule we can get away with. And that's kind of the vibe I get from these guys right now, is they're trying to do the same thing. It's just, we're going to be funny, we're going to be stupid. We're just going to have a good time with this, and we're going to see what we can get over. Kind of like The Rock and the People's Elbow. Like, that was stupid, too.
Yeah.
But Leon's covering.
That was supposed to be... That's not me covering. That's Ninja fucking rubbing himself all over the phone.
Oh.
That was supposed to be Rock trying to pop fucking Taker.
Yeah. But I think that's what Cole and fucking MJF are doing. And I'm sure there's people in the back that are watching that just laughing their fucking ass off, because if I was back there, as a fan, I watch it, I just laugh. Because it's great. But then when it's time to have a good match and do what you have to do, they can do that too. Yeah, I think it's a pretty amazing. It's the best thing in wrestling, and I stand by that.
Look at their match for the AEW tag team titles with FTR. A week before that, they were fighting people and being complete asshats. I don't remember who they were fighting.
Oh, the dancing.
Yeah,
the dancing.
Dance
yeah,
off. Like
Guevara, and that other guy, Garcia. Yeah, Daniel Garcia. That was amazing too, though. But you're taking these guys that are looked at as main eventers. You're kind of doing something different. It is so far out of the norm of what we are used to when we see our main event guys or our main event feuds. And I will agree with Leon on that. It's completely different. It's completely opposite of what we've been just like positioned to think. Because if you ask me the greatest main event of all time, WrestleMania 17, Rock Austin, nobody can argue. That's the show. That is the show. In America, that was the biggest show. That was like the peak of the Attitude Era. And Rock and Austin hated each other, and it was a great match. And they built that really, really well in it. But again, that was a competition thing. And you look at this, and it's so different that the biggest show that AEW had was like two guys who were friends, who like hugged it out at the end and then celebrated together while confetti and fireworks went off. And it was such a different vibe. But it was so, to have 80,000 people screaming, hug it out at the end of that show, that's incredible. The show was incredible for that reason. You can't write better shit than that. That's why they're the best thing in wrestling, and not Roman Reigns. Fuck Roman Reigns.
I mean, even if they didn't have those, I'm looking at I watching the promos that they did with OC and Mox earlier today, and I'm like, shouldn't they hate each other? Shouldn't they be mad at each other? And I'm like, wait, no, they don't have to hate each other, but Mox was putting over Orange, and Orange was putting over Mox, but they're still going to have this competition, and it's going to be awesome. The match speaks for itself.
That has the potential to be really fucking good. That has the potential to be really fucking good. I guess my biggest hope right now is, I know there's a lot of shit going on in this company. There's a lot of flux. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of what the fuck's going to happen.
Turbulence, as Joe called it.
When Punk and the Elite left, and everybody was panicking what they were going to do, they grabbed that ball and they gave it to these guys, and they ran. Pac ran. Orange Cassidy ran. They gave it to all these guys. The Acclaimed, the Guns, like all these people got the chance, and they went off and they ran with it. And guys like Moxley and Danielson were like, here we are. We're going to be the pillars we need to be. And now you got Mox doing that again. You got Brian doing that. You got Joe doing that. And my hope is that they can keep, like, give me more Ricky Starks. Do something with Hobbs.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get those. Let's take those guys on Collision and let's do some shit, because we know what you can do. You did it with Orange Cassidy, which is fucking crazy to me that they got that guy in the spot. Because when you first saw him, it was like, he's funny. And then it was like, oh shit, he can work. But now it's like, that dude's fucking amazing. You have an amazing talent that the first time you saw that guy jump over the top rope with his hands in his pockets, you know he was going to be this good? Nobody did. Nobody knew. So, I mean, you have a guy there, and then you look around, there's other guys. I mean,
Darby Allin is killing it. Like,
Darby's killing it. Swerve. Well, that's
true.
Darby. He's gonna. But Swerve Strickland cut a promo tonight on Hangman. What a promo that was! Like, Swerve's good. Like, Swerve needs some fucking time. You've still got Keith Lee hanging on. You've got all these guys. You've got people that can go on that show and be that guy. We just got to run with it.
Mm-hmm.
We all agreed Punk leaving the way he did, and the way it's disappointing. It's a letdown. But you have this chance to kind of rise out of the ashes of that bullshit and do shit the right way, so you got to do it. That's my hope for Collision, because Dynamite's not going to change. Dynamite's great. I love Dynamite.
It doesn't really need
Collision,
to.
and I hope Collision. I hope they keep those interviews at the start, because I like those. I hope they keep the little different style. I like that. I like the different announcers. I like the color of the ropes. I like the look of the lights. Like, I like the difference. But let's make that difference about Powerhouse Hobbs, or let's make it about Miro or fucking Ricky Starks. Let's get those guys going to the next level, because that's what we need right now. Because we did it the first time with a couple guys. Let's do it the next time, and let's see where it goes. Because that's just where we're at. And I think it's as much as this situation sucks a fat one, because it does. Because I don't think there's a single one of us that's like, I wish CM Punk would have worked. Because I'm a huge CM Punk fan. I know you are, Bud. And Leon, you're the biggest CM Punk fan here. We get that. We know that. But, like, it didn't work. And now you have to come up with something else.
But out of that, there is some positive. Like, CM Punk brought up guys like, not FTR. That's a bad example. But I think, like, FTR is a different entity now because of the work that they did with CM Punk. Ricky Starks is higher up on the card. Malachi Black, to even some extent, because of the tiny bit of work that he did with CM Punk. Like, those guys look different now.
Oh, we're going to get that feud. God damn it.
I'm sorry.
That's what I just thought, too. That's what I just thought, too. There's so much we're missing.
He just made me sad.
I'm sorry.
It just wasn't viable anymore. But you're right. There's a lot of guys.
There's a lot of guys
Malachi.
That came up. That was the one thing that I loved about Punk, was that he wanted to bring up guys who weren't getting a fair shake, and I love that.
I also wonder.
Still get it.
I also wonder if you do something to, like, you need a title on Collision.
The real world. No, let's not do that.
Well, it's gone now, obviously. But you need something. Do you take the international over there? Because I don't think you do. Do you take the TNT over there and make that more prominent? Like, you've got to have something over there for people to fight over. The TNT title to me would be perfect.
I don't think they need that. If they're gonna get rid of the brand split, just have the champion split time. Like we've talked about, like, just have, if MJF's gonna have a program with Samoa Joe, have him spend time on Collision. And then when you see when MJF is on Dynamite and Samoa Joe shows up, we're like, oh shit, some stuff's gonna go down.
I just hope they don't put the same people on both shows. That's my big concern.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Or like make it a hodgepodge of,
they could have, like, like the world title feud. They could have that bleeding onto both shows, but other than that, kind of don't have the same people on the same shows.
You do want You do want a focal point
Same
though for
people on
that.
both shows.
You do want a focal point for that show, and I
Oh,
think the TNT title could be that title.
It could be.
Like that's going to get defended every week. Because I think one of the reasons Dynamite has gotten so good is because the international title is going to be a banger every week. So when you see it's an international title match, you're like, I got to fucking watch that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think if they could pull it off with the TNT, that'd be good.
I think if they put that on Darby, I think that's what you'd have.
I don't know.
I do not think I love Luchasaurus. I love Christian Cage, but the kind of matches that they do,
They don't
it's
work.
not the same. Like it's just not the same. They're
like
more
Ricky,
about
what about like Ricky Starks?
Ricky Starks would work.
Give Ricky Starks that belt and then just have him be Ricky Starks and wrestle every week and do matches. Oh, that'd be great.
Down. Let's
That'd
do
be
it.
great.
Because he's not like shying away from his. I work my ass off just because he's a heel. He's not like I'm not working as hard as I used to. He's not changing his character because of the reaction he gets, which again is something that I love about AEW. They stay true to their character.
Do you think hindsight 2020 they regret turning him heel now?
I don't know. He's kind of getting over as a heel now.
Oh yeah, he's great. That's why. But
I don't know. Maybe not.
I think I can sum up the whole CM Punk situation with.
We've stopped talking about wrestling.
I think it's an interesting one because I think we got heated over Punk.
I think we have reached our natural conclusion.
We got heated over Punk. We got heated a little bit over MJF, but I think we're all. I think the Punk thing is because we're all really fucking passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I think I think him being a guy that we all looked up to, because we did. When he pulled that shit in 2011, it was like, I'm a pissed off wrestling fan. I hate fucking WWE. It's the only thing. That motherfucker said everything I'm thinking. That's our guy. So it's really, really hard when the guy that you are so far behind, and Bud, you've said this so many times, when the guy that you really liked and idolized, suddenly you realize, oh, he's kind of a piece of shit. Great.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's a hard thing. We're passionate about it.
I really, really hope that if the situation is that he has some shit going on,
I hope he gets help.
I hope he gets help. That's all.
I hope he's happy. I just want the guy to be happy because he's earned that. Everything he went through, everything he did, that fucker deserves to be happy.
That was the main reason I followed him on Twitter. Like, he is the reason I joined Twitter, because I wanted to follow him. I wanted to know what else he was going to do. Yeah. Because he was like, I'm done with wrestling. Fine, be done with wrestling. I want to know what else you're going to do, because you are a great storyteller. And I hope, just find happiness, find peace. Philip J. Brooks. I don't know if your middle initial is J. Charles Montgomery Brooks. Hey, I was right.
Philip Jack.
Anyway, this has been Bud and Town and Leon. Some fighting, some crying, some bleeding, some drinking of water. And now we're going to go...
A lot of CM Punk.
A lot of CM Punk. Also a lot of MJF, as promised. Okay, bye.